dear students. I am Jayoti Dr. Lily Trivedi, and today I am going to give a lecture on Meristems. Now this comes under Faculty of Education and Methodology for students of BSc B.Ed 4th SEM in the paper Anatomy, Ecology and Evolution of 4th SEM Botany. Now to start with, what are meristems? This is the first session lecture of your subject. Now we can say that meristems are a group of cells. They have a common origin and they form tissues which later on develop into a complex organ. Now these meristems are in essential part of both animals and plants. Now meristems can be they there is a difference between the animal and plant meristem. In animal they are called as stem cells and they seize the multiplication of the cells after the individual is becomes mature or adult. Whereas in the plants, the difference is that the plants have the meristematic growth every season, every year according to their cycle. Now, if it is a vegetative meristem, it will continuously grow. If it is a reproductive meristem, it will grow during the flowering season or reproductive season. So, this is a major difference between the two meristems of animals and plants. Now, what does the meristem do? It later on becomes into a developed permanent tissue. So there is a difference between the meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. The meristematic tissue is depending upon the ability to divide. It is localized in the plants. It has thin cellulose walls. It is living with dense cytoplasm and has a prominent nuclei. The vacuoles are very small or they are absent, and the mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum and other cell organelles are not developed. The plastid here is in the form of proplastids, and the high metabolic rate is a characteristic of meristematic tissue. Now you will ask why high meristematic rate is present there, because it is undergoing the stage of growth and division, so high energy is required. Intercellular spaces between the two meristems cells is absent. Now we come to the permanent tissue. As compared to the meristematic tissue, the permanent tissues have lost the ability to divide. They are thick and thin-walled both. They can be either living or they can be dead. The vacuoles in the permanent tissues are large vacuoles. They have well-developed mitochondria, plastids and other cell organelles because they are mature and complex tissues, cells which have completed their growth. The metabolic rate will be normal and intercellular spaces may be present depending on the type of tissue they have formed. Sometimes the permanent tissue either becomes a whole part or can either change into meristematic tissue depending upon the growth season. So this is the basic of meristem, what we have discussed. So children, I hope you have understood what is meristem, how it is different from permanent tissues and what are the basics of meristematic tissue cells. Now if we go on the classification is based on 4 types. First, the origin and development of the initiating cells. Now if we come to the initiating cells, then it can be on 3 bases: promeristem, primary meristem and secondary meristem. The promeristem is also known as the urimeristem or embryonic meristem or primordial meristem. It is the foundation of new organs and their parts. So these types of cells of promeristem are thin-walled, isodiametric. They have dense cytoplasm and large nuclei. They are having. Then next we come to the primary meristem. Now it is the fundamental part forming and the apices of root, stem and shoots. the primordia of the leaves are formed from these primary meristems. They are forming similar type of appendages like leaves, or they are forming shoots. They divide in all possible planes of division. Then we have secondary meristem. It develops from mature tissues. It is always lateral in position. At the time of emergence and of the secondary growth, it is forming cambium tissue. Second classification is based on the plane of division. In this, we have three types: the rib or file meristem, the plate meristem, and the mass meristem. In the rib or file meristem, it is right angles to the longitudinal axis. That is, long rows of files of cells are there. For example, we have the cortex and the pith region of the stem and root. Here the meristem is rib or file meristem. Second is plate meristem. Plate meristem is forming parallel layers of cells, that is in the periclinal manner. It is present in the intercalary growth. For example, in the leaves, it is not increasing the thickness, but it is increasing the surface area of the leaf. So there is no or increase in the mesophyll layer of the cells. Third is mass meristem. Mass meristem means the growth is in the whole of the mass, that is a massive plant body or organs, like in the early stages of embryo or endosperm development, etc. The direction of growth is in all planes. Then third, we have on the basis of the function in the plant body, we have protoderm, procambium and ground meristem. From the protoderm, we have the outermost layer of meristematic tissue, yani it forms the epidermis. Second is procambium, that is narrow and elongated parenchymatous cells, meristematic cells, prosenchymatous cells are there, and they are forming the primary vascular tissue. Third is the ground meristem, which are precursors to the ground tissue, and they have large cells growth. And the fourth is ground meristem. As we have discussed ground meristem, the fourth is on the basis of the position in the plant body. If it is present apical, it is known as apical meristem. For example, in the apices of the main root and shoot, or in the secondary root or shoot. It is responsible for the growth of height of the plant. Intercalary meristem, that means it is present between the regions of permanent tissue. For example, a part of meristem tissue is alternated by a permanent tissue. Example, in the base of leaves of many monocots, in the internodal region of grasses, in the nodal region of mentha. Like we have the sugarcane, in the internodal region is responsible for growth of the sugarcane, and the meristematic tissue is present and there. Lateral meristem. Now lateral meristem is parallel to the sides of organ, and it is responsible for periclinal or radial growth. The increase in diameter is responsible and caused with the secondary permanent tissue, or it forms the vascular cambium or cambium cork cambium. So the lateral meristem is responsible for the growth in the width of the plant. So I hope you found this lecture interesting, and we will continue in the next section with the next session of the tissue, meristematic tissue. So I hope you have found this interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you.